What's up, world, and welcome back to the Global Frequency. I am your host, Nefarious.
And I'm Frequency.
And today we are joined by Keith Gleason from Reckless Sidekick Productions, here today to talk to us all about his comic book crowdfunding campaign, Mighty Mascots, currently live on Indiegogo. Keith, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
We are glad to have you. You're new around these parts, so let me take a moment to break it down for you how we do here on the Frequency. Before we get into the book, I like to ask all sorts of probing personal questions to bring to light any dirt my super sleuthing confidential internet informants may have dug up on you.
He does deep.
Okay.
I mean, I like going deep.
Oh, so I knew when I said it.
You did, yeah. You set me up for that. We're just sort of swish, right? First off, I see you're from Massachusetts, but my sources indicate you're originally from New York City and are considered by many to be an innovator of early illustories, what we today would call comic books. And that's super neat. If you were a pioneer in the field way back in 1931, what comics were around for you to read growing up?
Oh my god. Action. I think action comics out then? Or detective comics? Or Jeez. I don't know. That would be what I would read. You know, anything superhero back then, I think that was mostly dominated by pulp back then, right? Wasn't it like the 30s?
Right. Early superhero, way early, not even golden age at that point.
Like maybe age, the Spider or something like that. I always like modern takes on him.
So what comics do you like to read now?
Right now I'm more of an indie guy. I used to be into both Marvel and DC, probably more DC than Marvel. But both companies just their output now has been horrendous, so I found myself buying more Image, more stuff from Indiegogo, more stuff from Kickstarter. I'm trying to think of some of the books I really like. I like stuff I like most of Tinian's stuff right now, like Something is Killing the Children or Department of Truth, things like that.
Good.
I think
Something Killing the Children's a dope series. Yep.
Yeah, love that book.
So you've come up with a bunch of beloved comic book characters, including Captain Horatio Honeyflakes, Boxer Bear, Brewster McPunch, Silver Streak, Captain Battle, and the Daredevil. Our very own Commie Mark made a comic book called Not Daredevil in a sort of satirical homage to the original Daredevil. And Captain Battle just made an appearance in the most recent Tiger Blue. What's it like seeing other creators write stories about characters you created?
I guess it's an honor. So that's it's always neat to hear a creator, or nice to see a creator's take on your work,
Right. And I mean, the earlier characters, those are fairly original concept. Most people write about nerds dressed in spandex running around fighting supervillains. But you've based your characters on TV mascots like Captain Crunch and Scruff McGruff. What gave you that inspiration?
Oddly enough, a t-shirt. My wife gave me a t-shirt with all cereal mascots on it, and I was looking at it in the mirror one day and I was like, hey, that's a comic book, and that the rest was history after that.
Was there a particular book that kind of inspired you to give up a normal life in favor of trying to tell stories with pictures?
I guess, maybe like Justice League or Avengers or something like that. It's the closest thing I could think that would inspire, that the creations are closest to, I guess. It was like a team book, like stuff that I was into, like it was Justice League and Avengers. So I would say that probably.
And that was inspiring enough for you to want to leave behind a normal life and decide, let's tell stories about, comic book superheroes based off of, consumer mascots.
Yeah, it was. Oddly enough, yes.
Right on. I mean, everyone has their own unique story, right? And yeah. I mean, you've got a pretty unique story yourself. My sources indicate that when you began your career as an artist, working on the Open Road for Boys magazine, advertising under Harry Wildenberg for Eastern Color Printing, there wasn't much of a presence in comic books at the time, and you're sort of responsible for creating the early, genre convention. What was it like completely free-forming it back in the beginning?
I'll tell you, it just came out of me. I don't know, where that inspiration came from. It was like, I don't know. Something was brewing inside and it just had to come out. And I think that's the end product, And
I mean, the stuff you're doing now is a lot different than the crime thrillers you did early on and horror titles produced by EC Comics that became, the targets of increasing criticism by the burgeoning comics code, censors way back in the, 40s and 50s. What was your reaction to that when that was going on?
Me and Wortham, we used to butt heads outside of outside of the press, the stories you've heard. I had some dirt on him, so that's why he started this whole thing. So
you're good at keeping it going, guys. In case you in the chat didn't get it, I am making a long-running gag, hoping to pay it off, that Keith is not Lev Gleason, as my spies early on indicated. But with that, let's take a moment to say hello to everybody we got with us in the chat. Frequency Girl, you take it away.
First, we have Mo Biggs. Says if it counts after the link, it does. Anytime we drop the link and pin it in the chat, it does not count as the first comment. It's always the first comment that is not us. We got Jim Cox in the house. What up, Jim? It's been a while. Good to see you. We have Comics Mate. G'day, Dean. That's my terrible Australian accent that I feel the need to do every time.
Australian accent.
We have Creators Outlet. Will, he says that he just met you at a convention on Saturday and got issues 1 through 6 signed.
Oh yeah. Yep, I remember meeting him.
We have Ollie from 656. What's up, Ollie?
Glad to have you with us, brother.
Love all.
We have Arrogant Ape. Hail Neff Freq Girl will work and lurk for food. Ooh, I want food.
I will lurk for food as well.
Yeah, I'll do pretty much anything for food. And then I'm assuming this is you, Indie Comics Reader. Say hello.
That's me. Yep.
In the chat. And then it's all me. And we have Jeremy Burtz. Hey, Jeremy Burtz.
What's up, Jay Birds? Thanks for dropping in. We also got
Hojo. What's up, you fucking nerds?
Yeah. And we got 24 Eyes with us as well.
Hey, bud.
And I think we got a Wild Odin that's appeared in the chat.
Wild Odin has appeared.
Yes, a Wild Odin.
Yeah. Are you going to throw a master ball at his head?
No. You're such a nerd. Oh, my God.
I don't know any of those. Hi, Eric the Guapo. Thanks for sharing that.
So you're not Lev Gleason. You are Keith Gleason. Kevin Gleason. No, Keith Gleason. And my sources are wrong about most of the other stuff, but tell me, you did attend the Kubert School, did you not?
I did. 1 year.
So
1 year.
What's it like having a formal education in storytelling through sequential art? And by that, what did the Kubert School do to hone your skills as a comic book creator?
Gotcha. They target a lot of areas, actually. Lettering, just beefing up your drawing, anatomy, perspective, things like that. But they also like they're big on preparing you for the comic world by like they beat into your head constantly about making sure you hit those deadlines. I must have heard that thousands of times at that school. It's really unique too. Like so every day, each class was 3 hours long, so you only had 2 classes a day. So it would be like intro to animation, and then the next 3 hours would be lettering. And you would get assignments like draw like this whole page and then letter it, in your own script or whatever. We had all kinds of crazy, fun assignments, to do at that school, which is great.
I can imagine there'd be some people I know who could probably benefit from a Kubert school education if what they did was like beat it into you that you need to hit your deadlines.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And
this was back in.
I'd like to beat.
Yeah. I was there back in like 95, so it's been a long time.
He means 1895, guys. Just so,
You're right. But yeah, it was an interesting school. It was definitely a unique experience.
Well, it does sound like it. And everyone we've met from the Kubert school seems to be really like well disposed towards creating comics. So they must put you through the ringer for you to come out on the other side just to be kind of like chipper and chill about making comics. Because when I'm making them, I'm tearing my hair out like all the time.
Why do you think he wears a hat?
Seriously, it's just a rat's nest of patchiness up there these days.
Well, I've already torn all of mine out, as you can see.
So I guess you've already gotten
so he's over that hill. Now he's
now I'm
chill.
just in the insane stage where you're just like insanely like happy and pleasant,
You're not going to start tearing out your eyelashes or anything.
Yeah. Yes. My chest
in the
hair.
derivative words of Kara Nicole, these days everyone's got to have a side hustle, and I'm putting my money on the sources this time, saying that when you're not telling stories with pictures, you used to moonlight as a mild-mannered service delivery operator. What does that even mean?
That is a fancy way for saying customer service, phone guy, basically.
But like specifically in the technosphere, right? So it's like, got a little bit more than just like, hello, welcome to Geek Squad. I see you poured soda on your keyboard again.
Have you tried turning it off?
Turn it off and turn it back on.
We were like, it's a glorified, I guess, secretary position, because you would take the call and get all the information so you could pass it on to someone more intelligent to work on it. So
Odin says, Neff, I gotta say, I'm looking at that wall behind you and I'm noticing a key piece missing from your display. Oh, it's there, Odin. You just can't see it.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be on the wall, and I keep forgetting to get the right size frame. We don't have the right size frame for
it's just behind like 3 of these other comic books. I mean, it's on the set.
It is on the set. It's just hidden.
Odin bought me a painting, a great painting by a friend of ours.
Okay.
That he wanted to see put on the set, and he's bothering me about it.
Why does Neff hate Ogden? Neff hates Ogden. #confirmed. You heard it here first.
It could be a movie, right?
Yeah.
So, how did you get your start in comics? If you didn't get your start in 1939, pioneering the development of the medium, where did it all begin for you?
Probably my first comic I made was back in like 2005. I used to be part of this webisode series called Hero Envy, which was like this live action. It was like a geek comedy. It was like if Big Bang Theory was actually funny. Like that's how I used to pitch it to people. So it was like about that, and we ended after like 30 episodes, but I wanted to kind of continue it on. So I was like, why don't I make a comic of this? So that was my first foray into doing comics. It was like a 3-issue miniseries. Took me 5 years to like make all 3 issues. I mean, you know how it is with indie stuff. It just takes forever to get pages from an artist, and and when you don't know what you're kind of doing your first time, it's a lot tougher. So Yeah. And it was like, I've had the bug ever since, you know, like since I started making those 3 issues, I've been going to conventions all the time and, you know, just continuing to make more stuff. And then, you know,
So
eventually.
tell me about Plastic City Comic Con. Sounds like
okay.
a place. I mean, every time I hear it, I think of Plastic Man.
Right. Yeah.
Tell me about it.
So that's a Comic-Con I started back in like 2016. Just because I was kind of, I don't know. Have you guys have been to conventions, right? Didn't I meet? I met you at Terrific
We
Con,
met.
right?
Yeah, we met.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I bought a bunch of the original issues. Yeah, I almost bought the box. I think the cereal box.
oh, nice.
I had to keep walking around. I was like, I can't carry it all. It's on one of our old streams.
Well, I had started the show, and I'm sure you guys have seen this at conventions. Like, you know, everything was being taken over by cosplay and celebrities and things like that.
And furries.
And furries, yeah, definitely. And I was just upset that comics weren't the focus anymore. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do something about it. And so I started my own show and put the focus back into comics. And I heavily curate the show so I can keep out all the stuff that's not really comics or comic related, you know? Like the aluminum siding guy and the solar panel people, you know? Like you'd be shocked at how many requests you get for stuff like that to be in the convention, you know?
Really,
But,
like people trying to sell aluminum siding and solar panels are like, let me come to your comic book convention.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like let me come to a Comic-Con that no one there has an interest in any of this stuff, you know? It's crazy. And I get a lot of requests from... Go ahead.
I'd call them last minute. You know, if there were booths that weren't taken, I'd call them last minute and be like,
just to have somebody.
It's last minute, double the price if you want to come.
Yeah, right.
I mean, just
so
stick
you
them
make
way in
the
corner.
Right? Stick them in that death corner that everyone ends up at one point at the convention.
Yep.
But I get a lot of requests from energy drink people too and stuff like that. Phone, you know, like AT&T and things like
G
that.
Fuel.
So. Yeah, exactly. I think something weird like that. I think it was G Fuel or something. But I started it just because like I wanted to focus back on comics, you know. We don't have that. We don't have those conventions.
Conventions are a mixed bag these days. Like you get some conventions where people are really into comics and interested in like the medium and meeting people who make them and shopping for back issues and stuff. And you got like all the long boxes and the sweaty nerds kind of like pressed up against each other, looking for that one back issue that they're missing, combing through the boxes.
Yeah,
like
I love that.
Guys on the beach with the metal detector looking for that rare, that rare piece of box gold. But then you've got these other conventions where it's more about dressing up and doing cosplay and walking around and being seen by your friends and having, and seeing your friends and taking pictures and being very like, what's the word? Kawaii, something like that. Kawaii.
I don't know what word that is.
I know which word
already
you're
got
saying.
mad at me for Pokemon.
Right.
I mean, that thing that I don't actually know what it is that we talked about.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know anything.
I blame the first Avengers movie because that's when I noticed things kind of shifting because that movie was such a huge success that all of a sudden everybody was like, oh, conventions are cool, but they're not into comics really.
Why?
Mobig,
So
hashtag kick Neff. I don't make the rules. I just listen to whatever Mobig says.
You set me up. You set me up for that.
Speak louder, Mo. Justice for Mo. I'll kick him again. I did.
He goes, put the picture up.
No, I don't
Justice
kick him for
Ogden. Justice for
it's,
Ogden. Put
it's
the
always
picture up.
justice for Mo. That's
That's great.
So yeah, I guess we were talking about Comic Cons, right? Like I guess one of the problems that we're having these days is like it is an expanded fandom, right? And you want to get newbies who aren't necessarily like intimately familiar with comics.
I have to interrupt you. Kawaii it down with the weeb degeneracy, Neff. That was good. That was a very good one, Mo. That was very good. Hey, Alex BRB.
Hey, what's up, Alex? Glad to have you with us, man.
Hey, thanks, Alex.
Keith is a great dude. Indeed, he is, except he's not Lev Gleason, so, that's a disappointment. But
I wish I was related.
You can't be at everybody, right? In fact, I thought you were. My spies were
I'd have to go.
in like
you know what I
the
should
legacy.
do? I should do 23andMe and see if I am. Or something.
Yeah, you never know. Find out all sorts of crazy stuff.
You could
Right?
make your own Daredevil book, right?
Yeah,
You could
right.
throw them in with the mascots, have Daredevil in
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
Or Captain Battle.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got a weird mixed bag these days at conventions. It's kind of it's gotten taken over, you know. But
Yeah.
curating, it's one thing. I would love to see it just kind of expand. Definitely keeping a space for us to enjoy comic books. That's 100% important. But I would love to see like the insidiousness of how to enjoy comics creep into the minds of people who are more interested in dressing up as their favorite VTuber, like B-Rose,
Yeah, I
who
would
are
love
getting
that
stepped
too.
on at Anime Matsuri.
Yeah, like maybe like I Terrificon has like a good formula, I think. Like I was just there in, this last one in August, and they pack it with a lot of comic creators and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
and the celebrities are there, but it's not like enough to overpower everything. And then they have all the comics and toy vendors and t-shirt guys and everything. It just seems like a good ecosystem there. Like
Yeah, I
everything
agree.
seems balanced, you know what I mean? And you can find a lot of indie books and stuff like that. I came home with a stack, this past show. But other shows, I can't say the same, like New York Comic Con or even like Fanboy Expo, stuff like that. I don't see, you know what I mean? I think it's more stacked the other way. But yeah, I feel like there's
Fanboy
room for
Expo. Do I sense a little bit of animosity with Fan Expo? Is that really there, or am I projecting?
I haven't actually done their show yet. As soon as Boston Comic Con sold it, I was like, I know what this is gonna be, so I just never went back. But I hear people do okay. Like, have you done that show, Neff?
Yeah, we've done it.
Yeah.
How
we did
was
really well.
was
We
it
didn't
for you?
have a booth this year. We did last year. We did really well.
Did you
We
guys?
sold a
good.
bunch of merch. We sold out of all of our teaser comics.
It's in a cool venue.
Yeah.
I give
Okay.
a lot of credit to the convention center because it's set up really nicely and it's very accessible.
Okay.
And it's a nice walkthrough.
Gotcha.
Phoenix will tell you what are you shaking your head at?
Odin says, "Man, I wonder if Neff will dethrone my crown of weeb degenerate." And
No,
I
it's
said,
not possible.
I don't. He didn't put out a weeb book.
It's
you
you.
automatically win.
Yeah, it's you and then B-Rose right
Yeah.
behind you. It's the
I don't know,
two
maybe you're tied. Mo would have
dubious-
to be the tiebreaker there.
tie them together, throw them in the lake, see which one makes it. But yeah, the convention center is really cool. We always like run into people that we know and that we like there. So it's also kind of cool because Boston is one of those like central locations.
Yeah.
Connecticut isn't quite as, prominent. Like people aren't going to be like, oh, let's go to Connecticut.
Yeah, right.
No. I mean, especially
Boston, they'll go to Boston.
Yeah, right.
Connecticut is one of those where it is not very comic
No,
book
it's not.
friendly. Like,
Oh,
it's not
Connecticut, yeah,
friendly,
no.
but it's very anime weeby.
Was that the one where the girl
The girl
cried?
cried, yes.
So
Neff
I
was pitching the book to her and she started crying.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she started crying when she heard the pitch to my book because I was like, in an alternate future ravaged by a global collapse, and she was like,
I can't, it's too scary. Too much like what we're dealing with now.
and I was like, I'm sorry. Have a sticker, have a button, make you feel
Oh
better
my
and
God.
go away.
I've not had that reaction yet, but that one's pretty funny.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty unique.
Oh my
All right,
God.
well, we talked about the
Odin's being a
conventions.
weeb. I don't know what that means.
What is
Doze.
I have no idea. But then he says, "How long will it take for me to get timed out?" Are you trying to get timed out by Mo? I'm not
Mo
sure
may
what you're campaigning for there.
He may have reached the point where he is tuned out Odin to the point where he's
That's
like
fair.
not aware of what he's
That
saying
is
in the chat, so he can't time Odin out because he doesn't know he exists. It's like he's timed
Yeah.
him out in his own head, So
Say hello to Juanito.
hey, Juanito, El Padrino, what is up, Juanito B-Rose? Gay, very gay. So let's talk about Mighty Mascots. All right,
Okay.
you've got a whole roster of these wacky, zany characters. You're on 7, 8, and 9. Why don't you tell us about these protagonists of yours? And I'll bring up the campaign and see if we can scroll through a little bit and take a look at who some of these guys are.
Yeah, definitely. So the
Start
story is about a bunch of serial mascots that were brought to life by a 3D printing accident and they become crime fighters. Basically, it's when I pitch it at conventions, I tell people it is if you took a Saturday morning cartoon and smashed it together with Justice League comic. That's what Mighty Mascot is. It's all ages, but not all ages in like the stupid YA sense. More all ages in the way Batman and Spider-Man was in like the 70s and 80s, for us, where it has like a little bit of more, like I'd say the tone is probably like Batman the animated series, something along those lines,
So pretending I know nothing about the series, just looking at these characters, I can kind of go, all right, Captain Horatio Honeyflakes, that's Captain Crunch.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, all right, Brewster McPunch, that's the Kool-Aid Man.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Whack, Smack, and Boom, those are little robot versions of Snap, Crackle, and Pop. So right away, I'm already associating like an intertextual reference to the comic book characters where there's something familiar, but there is a spin on it that makes them different enough and unique enough that they're their own characters. But what about Mondo Martian and Sea-Rat? Explain those two. Is that Toucan Sam?
It's
Robot Toucan Sam. All right.
Frequency Girls got it. Yep, Toucan Sam. Now, Mondo Martian is sort of a deep cut, and it's like a cereal that's they still make, but it's kind of rare. You actually the only way you can get it is if you order it through Amazon. It's a cereal called Quisp. Have you guys ever experienced that cereal?
I've never even heard of it. I have to Google it.
I've only heard of it because you've been
here.
talking. It's the only reason that I've heard of it is because you've spoken of it before.
This is a cereal, the Quisp cereal box, and if you can see the
that's the wrong person. No, it's this person.
Stop it.
So there's the mascot of Quisp. He's this
with
like,
a Q.
wacky.
I've never seen that before.
Well, I'm gonna have to order it now and eat it. And you can't eat it because I'm gonna eat it. Right?
I'm not allowed to. Hi, Foggy.
This is
oh no, sorry, I'm making you break your set.
Here's I bought a Funko of it, of the mascot. Like,
they make Funko Pops of
everything.
Oh my god! Yeah, this cereal mascot's well remembered, but I think you have to be like 70
from 1937. Yeah, that's it.
Exactly.
Right?
You have to be Lev Gleason to remember it.
So what about Boxer Bear? He's, in my opinion, the coolest looking character of the bunch because like the pages that you have him on, he's got some really awesome action, going on around him. Who is he the mascot for?
Yeah, he's probably a composite of a couple different ones. I was when I created him, I was thinking more like Tony the Tiger, mixed with like Sugar Bear, something like that.
Oh, okay, I could kind of see that. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Sugar Bear's kind of mellow.
Yep.
Can't get enough of that golden crisp.
Yeah, exactly.
Sugar Crisp.
I think that's part of the fun about this series is starting with a real mascot and trying to create my own version of it, but also make it its own character, but you still kind of know what it is part of, kind of makes it.
Nicholas Gear says it's almost time for Count Chocula season.
Oh, yes.
Blueberry and Frankenberry.
Yes.
Would you ever do that? Would you ever introduce like seasonal mascots and put out like a supplemental book for Mighty Mascots and be like the Halloween edition through Alterna and be like, oh, it's the supplemental mascots? Yeah, that might be neat.
I did, propose like a Halloween special for the Mighty Mascots, but
that's cute.
Alterna was like, just do it as one of the issues. I guess they didn't want like a whole special issue or something. So that's what I'll probably end up doing, is do I want to do the monster serials at some point, but I want to do all 5. I want to do the 2 that they don't make anymore too.
There's 5?
Count you didn't.
Blueberry,
It's,
Frankenberry.
like you said, it's a deep cut back to the 1800s.
Yeah. The other 2 is Fruit Brute and Yummy Mummy. They were discontinued.
I've never heard of these.
You never did?
You're getting an education today.
Yes. If you look up Yummy,
taking you to school on cereals.
So Fruit Brute was kind of like a fruit punch kind of flavor. And then like Yummy Mummy was sort of like an orange creamsicle kind of flavor. And they were discontinued. I don't know why, but actually this year,
right? I don't know why. Probably because they curdled the milk.
Yeah, maybe. this year they're gonna bring back Fruit Brute. So if you are looking for the monster cereals,
All right.
check that one out.
I
It'll probably
used to eat-
tastes like garbage because they they changed the formula from when we were younger to like
RJ knows it is Fruit Brute. Ow!
Yeah.
I used to eat Fruit Loops and Fruity Pebbles out of the box, but I would never put it in the milk because the citric acid would turn the milk a little bit sour, and that really turned me off, like Odin's comment. Bruh, I have no, what does he say? I have no idea how little I knew about, you know what? I have no idea how little you know either. Oh, there's more to the comment about assorted breakfast cereals and their mascots. Yeah. Neostar is with us, the brilliant star that shines through the night, the promotional prize in your cereal box. Riserman stands before you. Well done.
Nicely done.
Well done, Riserman. Appreciate
Yeah, I
you
missed
joining
that
us
too.
today.
They don't do prizes in the boxes anymore,
Yeah, that does kind of stink. I refer to the majority of the stuff that we get on crowdfunding campaigns, like the little tchotchkes. Those are like the Cracker Jack prizes on the campaign, right?
Yeah.
You're paying for the comic, you're getting the stuff, and you get the sticker and the bookmark and all that other stuff. That's all the Cracker Jack prizes in the cereal. But most people these days, they're not going to get that reference because they don't get cereal box prizes. Do Cracker Jacks even exist anymore?
They do, but they don't. They don't do good prizes anymore. Just like cereal, I think you're lucky if you get a sticker now. You get a sticker or a temporary tattoo.
I think I only ever got like a temporary tattoo. I think that's the only thing I've ever gotten out of.
Never got a Dakota ring?
No,
yeah,
out of Cracker Jacks. I think one time I got like a mini comic book or like a comic strip that like unfolded, but I think that was the coolest thing I ever got from Cracker Jacks.
Yeah, and they used to do that too. Remember they used to do the mini comic strips on Bazooka Joe too? Like you remember that gum?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was always cool. I like.
I just want some icy ecto cooler. Yes.
That was the best. I tried to make some homemade like about 2 months ago, and it turned into a disaster.
Cereal wants you to send in money and UPC symbols?
Right, they used to want you to cut out the UPC symbols and send money
in
for special prizes
cool.
and stuff. Mo says, who will the official mascot of a Pride Parade be? Fruit Brute or LGBT Quisp? Well done. I'd say, like Fruit Brute coming back, that's gonna, turn a lot of people's heads because we're all gonna realize we didn't know that thing existed.
Yeah, I was gonna say when you said 5, I'm literally like I started counting on my fingers. I'm like, how did
you should 5? You should look up the monster cereals. There's so many collectibles, and it's almost its own subgenre. It's crazy how well those are
Froggy says there are legends of one who got a Schwartz ring from a Cracker Jacks box, and he was the chosen one, and his midichlorians were high. Fun fact, Riserman had a background cameo in Mighty Mascots a while back. Did he?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Did he get a drawn in tier, or did you just put him in there because
I think so. Yeah, I think you got a drawn in tier, if I remember, in like issue.
Now, speaking of
5
those,
or 6,
there's still one available on this campaign, which we'll get to in a minute. But I gotta know. So you've got cereal mascots, and you got Scruff McGruff, or your version of the crime dog, trying to solve the murder mystery of who killed the Geico insurance salesman or whatever. I mean, that's just like what my dumb brain kind of came up with as I was scrolling. I get the joke. I get the joke. I appreciate that. That's funny. Yeah. Who are the antagonists? Is there just one shadowy killer out there, or is it kind of spread out throughout the series? Like there's a different monster of the week, or we go through like different mini arcs throughout the Mighty Mascots. Because yes, this is 7, 8, 9, but there was 1 through 6 before this, right?
Right. So 1, 2, and 3 is a mini arc, and then 4, 5, and 6 is a mini arc. There is an overarching villain, but we are, I'm starting to do more like self-contained issues, and I think issue 7 is self-contained, and then 8 and 9 is a 2-parter. So I'm kind of shaking it up a little bit with the reason the 1, 2, and 3 is a mini arc, and 4, 5, and 6 is a mini arc is because at the time before Alterna had left Diamond Comics, issues 4, 5, and 6 was supposed to be the second Mighty Mascots miniseries, because that's how Pete was doing books then. He wasn't doing anything monthly. It was all, series of miniseries. So when he pulled out a Diamond, it was just in time where I could make that pivot to actually turning those into issues 4, 5, and 6. So it was before we had printed them. So that's what would happen there. So which was kind of cool. But yeah, I want to do like a little more one and dones, and have some subplots running in the background the way X-Men used to do, and then Spider-Man used to do, things like that. Like get back to the way comics were when I grew up, and the ones I kind of loved growing up.
So just above we had Grunt Calhoun. He reminds me of the Scruff McGruff style character, and it was Scruff McGruff take a bite out of crime. Yes,
okay.
It was McGruff.
I don't know if
I know
Scruff
it's McGruff,
it was
but
McGruff.
I don't think his first name was.
I'm pretty sure it was Scruff McGruff.
It was funny. I tweeted out my version, Grunt Calhoun, and the official McGruff the Crime Dog.
Yes, it's McGruff, but his first name is.
Yeah, they commented on it. Said this is cute.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool.
Gruff the Crime Dog. I'm going to go to the Wikipedia and send my spies and go find out.
You should watch a couple of his
McGruff.
PSAs on
Emily,
YouTube.
Scruff is his nephew.
Scruff is his nephew.
Okay,
I knew his
fine.
name. His first name was not.
There is a Scruff McGruff.
Yes,
though.
but it's not who you thought it was.
No, that's a duck, so it doesn't even count. So the mallard is like the Geico,
Affleck.
right? Yeah, he's or Affleck. Yeah, there you
More
go.
like Affleck, but the Geico gecko is in the issue, and my version of it, anyways, is one of the suspects.
It's tongue-in-cheek satire, but it feels like very gentle satire.
Leash on
That's
Crime.
more what's that?
I just saw that for the
Leash on Crime. Yeah, it's lower in the campaign, but it feels like it's more gentle satire where you're playing with it and appreciating it than you're like satirizing the commercialism of American culture and capitalism, and something that you might be concerned about encountering in today's modern popular anti-capitalist culture. This is more you remember when cereals were funny? Remember when mascots got murdered?
Yeah, right. This is more like I guess nostalgia done right, maybe. My tone of the book is always, I always look to those original Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like those guys took this absolutely absurd concept, but they kind of treated it kind of seriously, and that's sort of what I'm going for with Mighty Mascots. It's absolutely absurd thing, but I try to give it real stakes, and you know what I mean? Like try to do character arcs and things like that. So the characters grow and, change and things happen and, just,
so in 789, who is the antagonist?
So the first 7 is a whodunit, with the insurance mascots. And 8 and 9 is a 2-part kaiju battle, let's just say. So they're going up against the Colonel, which is a sentient piece of corn, and the gloomy orange Goliath, basically. So you guys probably will know what that's a reference to, those two characters.
I'm not sure about the corn, but the other, is that like the Jolly Green Giant? Is the orange?
And then
guy?
do you remember the Jolly Green Giant's little sidekick? Sprout the little Sprout guy. I thought the Colonel was like the general for the insurance company. Like no,
go to the general take some time.
Yeah. He's actually more like like it doesn't look. You can't tell in that picture, but he's a piece of corn, basically.
Right.
And those two are the antagonists in issues 8 and 9. Basically, the Colonel's trying to bring Gog back to life because he was canceled by the vegetable company that created him because he was a failed kind of mascot. Caused the company to lose money.
It's genetic tampering.
Yeah.
Monsanto bad.
Let's do something like that. There's gotta be some kind of...
I kind of stayed away from that kind of thing, but yeah. That'd be great, though. It'd be really funny.
So I guess like with every issue, it seems like you said you're trying to break it up into more self-contained bites,
Yeah.
more unintended
Okay.
at this point. But in general, is there a central conflict within the series?
There is a big overarching villain named Dr. Baneful that kind of caused all of this stuff to happen in the early issues. Like got the formula out and created a lot of these evil mascots. So that's sort of where it's going, kind of like their Shredder, I guess, if you need like a kind of a comparison, or their Doctor Doom or whatever. And so there's constantly stuff brewing with that company that she works for and them button heads. And then Manny Coleman, who is their human leader, used to work for her company. So it's kind of like that kind of tie to it. So basically I'm building up in the background their major story, and that's going to come to a head at some point, probably in the double digit issues, somewhere. But like I like keeping like a big villain in the background, kind of thing.
And what are the stakes for that big villain? Like if he were to succeed in, I guess, wiping out the mascots, what would the ultimate consequence be?
I guess corporation.
No more mascots.
Yeah. Her corporation will her driving storyline is that her husband is dying basically. So when she was experimenting with this formula, she's trying to bring her husband back to life, and she's caused this huge, basically a corporation with no consequences on how they deal with anything, that was it. Like I kind of have her. She's a little bit more like a Mr. Freeze kind of origin, except it's
what's
reversed,
the name of the
basically.
company?
The Alchem Group.
Okay,
So
sounds like a big drug company that's not beholden to any sort of regulations, and has full and complete indemnity for everything that it does, and can't be sued for any harmful wrongdoing in any potential or possible way for anything it's done to the population.
Exactly,
right?
And that's
I
how they conduct themselves. Yeah.
This book.
I mean, yeah.
And so that's how they kind of conduct themselves. Is they're not really out to, conquer the world or anything, but she is trying to bring her husband back, and then eventually that may or may not happen, and then we'll see what goes from there. So I haven't plotted it out that far yet, but I'm building that storyline in the background in these issues.
So what do you think it is about this book that appeals to its audience so much? What is the unique recipe in your, what flavor do you give it that appeals to the audience?
I think, it's that it's a fun superhero book. There's no pretension. There's no politics. There's no agenda in the book. It's just me channeling what Stan Lee and Jack Kirby did in the 60s, kind of doing that same thing, except with my own characters, So I think that's what appeals to people. And it's working from what of the feedback I've gotten. Kids like it and adults like it. So it's, so I'm proud of that, that it's striking a chord with people.
All right. So looking at the campaign here, we've got $4,800, right? With what, 95 backers? 4,600, 98 backers.
4,600.
Actually, refresh it. I think we're over the goal today. Went over a little earlier.
Hey,
heck yeah! There you go.
102
backers.
$5,258.
Yeah, so
I opened it.
I hit earlier today, which was amazing.
Nice.
That's
Congratulations! It's awesome.
Oh, thank you.
And now that you're crowdfunding 7, 8, and 9, but you've run crowdfunding campaigns for this series before, right? Back in 2018, 50 backers helped you bring the Mascots mini-series to life on Kickstarter. And in 2020, you ran an Indiegogo for issues 1 through 6, which brought in a whopping $19,500 with nearly 400 backers. How do you account for the astronomical growth of your self-published title in just 2 years?
That campaign was kind of an anomaly. I launched it 2 years ago, and it was like about a month into COVID, I think, at the time, which I was like worried because remember that first couple of months COVID, we were like, should we launch a crowdfunder or shouldn't we? It's kind of like a weird time. People are dying and, but it ended up being absolutely the best time because there was nothing really happening campaign wise around that time. So
backing campaigns, yeah.
Yeah, right. More people were backing because people were at home, and and then EVS helped push it along too, which kind of brought it to new heights. I got word through the grapevine that he really loves this book, so he was pushing it for a while on his channel, and I think that really helped push it up to that number. And yeah. It was a unique time in history, I think, to actually launch a campaign. It actually ended up benefiting me, even though I was worried about launching it at that time, So, but
Mo says it's way better than the Monger version, Frosted Mini Weaves. Very good. Very good. I like that one.
Yeah.
That's great.
So says it's a Saturday morning comic. Everyone could use a good old-fashioned fun time.
Yeah, Frog G nailed it, and his book looks great too. I'll have to definitely want to check that out.
It's gonna be something else, man.
That looks like it's a fun Saturday morning cartoon.
And
exactly. Neo Star.
I like Jason's art. I really do. I dig it. I dig it a lot. I think Ink Spots brings
they're such a good
crazy
I love Jason's black and white, but it just
of awesome to Jason's his line work.
They work so well together.
Incredible.
This is the Frog G book.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, the Frog G book. It's Jason Bascom in Ink Spots. Jason's a great. He did Absolute and Absolute book 2. And then Ink Spots, he does the color, so he's bringing that,
very cool.
A whole new feel to that artwork, and it's gorgeous.
Awesome.
They did the trading card on Absolute.
Mobic says, "I love seeing
I had a
Jason's
trading
art
card
in
too.
Color."
Jason did my trading.
I agree.
Which was colored by Matt Yackey, and I have Dan Fraga in a cage.
That's Neff's things. He collects artists.
Yeah. Mo says, I love seeing Jason's art in color. Me too. I think that's like the really choice. Really, that's what he needs. He needs color. So now that you've got it in crowdfunding for a third time, you just broke the goal today, which is awesome. When did you bring this series to Alterna, and why crowdfund issues 7, 8, and 9?
So, let's see. When did I bring it to Alterna? It was before issue 1. I actually had the first issue. So I pitched to Alterna back in, I want to say, maybe 2017, somewhere around there. And I had to, when I did that first miniseries with Kickstarter. So before that, I had, do you guys know Frankie B. Washington?
Yeah, man. He's done a bunch of sketch cards and stuff for us.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So he was the original artist on Mighty Mascots. He actually did all the character sketches and the designs for all the characters.
Very cool.
Yeah, he was originally attached, and so I had 16 pages when I pitched it to Alterna, and Pete liked the concept, but there was certain things about the story he didn't like, so he gave me a bunch of feedback, and he said, if you care to redo this or whatever, feel free to pitch to me again. So that's when I went back and did the original miniseries. Frankie didn't want to redraw it, so I ended up getting a new artist, Ian, which ended up being my permanent artist now. And I redid issue 1 with his notes in mind. And it was all good notes. It was all stuff that I was going to do with the series eventually. But I was just kind of starting off in a weird place narratively. And I think that's what Pete was didn't like about it. So once I fixed all that, I resubmitted it. And then I got the contract with Alterna. And so 1, 2, and 3 were in Diamond. They were, distributed to stores and everything. And then, 4, 5, and 6. So the reason I decided to crowdfund is because we do, as us as creators, it's all creator owned. So we are responsible for, paying the artist, the production of the book, basically. So, and I could usually do that out of my own pocket, but it would take longer to get issues out. So it would take me more like a year to do 1, maybe 2 issues. Whereas if I crowdfund and I get some of that money to pay Ian and Anton, I can do 3 a year easily. So that's why I kind of decided to do the crowdfunding, and that's why I didn't put it like an insane goal either. I just need enough to pay those guys and produce the books and, and produce the perks. And then whatever's left over will just go to like getting tables at conventions or the next issue, so.
Right.
But you just need that little help to keep it going.
And I guess if we're talking about keeping it going, I'm sure that Mighty Mascots has got yet another arc planned. But like you said, making them more individually packaged issues. I wanted to say individually packaged cereals, like those one shots. Yeah, when you used to cut them open. Did anyone ever eat them that way? Did anyone ever like tear the box open the way they wanted you to and like rip the bag so that you could eat it out of the...
I would just eat them.
I would just tear the top off.
They
and pour
did
it in
have
a bowl.
Those little boxes were never enough. You needed like 3 of them to like have like a good portion,
They did have the ones that were like a plastic bowl where you just peeled the top off.
No. They have those now.
Yeah.
They didn't have those then.
No.
They had them when you were in college and you were still a
boxes.
child. You're still a child.
I mean, I am. It's true.
But when we were kids at sleepaway camp and stuff.
Well, I never went to sleepaway camp, so.
Right, because you were scared of the dark and stuff.
No.
So yeah, let's take a look at the crowdfunding campaign as far as like the tiers and stuff that you've got. First off,
RJ did. Of course, RJ did. I turned the little boxes into the disposable bowls, but they never perforated them near enough.
Of course, RJ's like meticulous enough to want to.
That's what I said. Of course,
right? Of course, right? Nerd.
RJ speaks truth. I guess RJ did it too.
I never did that. I never turned the boxes into bowls. I just got a bowl but I never really bought
right
this.
like a civilized person.
I didn't even bother with a bowl.
It was a freaking hobby to turn the box into a bowl. You had to like cut along the perforations.
Well,
it was like a game of operation,
Right.
But
that and the assortment always had like 2 or 3 that you didn't want, like Special K or whatever. There was always 2 that you hated.
Stuck with those.
Right.
Yeah, you got stuck with the Special K.
Although it backfired because no one else in my family liked Honey Smacks, but I did. So I would just like grumble, like, "Oh, I can't believe I have to eat this stupid Honey Smack."
But you secretly loved it.
Yeah.
Child.
I love it. Yeah. Do you guys remember Dinky Donuts cereal? It was like donuts. Like it was.
I remember
frosted
Cookie
donuts.
Crisp.
It was
That's
great. What's that?
I never had
Look,
that.
you really do know your cereal.
I was gonna say, I'm like,
oh, dude,
no idea.
I practice what I preach here.
We need to bring you to like trivia night just in case.
Right.
Like just in case they come up.
Oh
with
my
a
god, we
very
go to those
obscure
sometimes and we
question.
kill at them, especially the nostalgia stuff.
So, who designed your Indiegogo page?
I did.
Awesome. It looks pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, man.
And you're no
Appreciate
stranger to it. This is your 3rd campaign, right?
Yeah. Yep. I'm
So
trying
you
to
did the
eventually
lettering.
get to the. What's that?
I was going to say you did the lettering on Foxman by Mark Mulgrave, right? Also known as Ginge Gingerton.
Yeah. Yep. I also did
And
lettering
he
on
does-
Berserker too.
He does a show with Pedro Caicedo, the
Yep.
resident CG rock star, who did your trailer.
Yes.
So
yep.
how much of comic books is really who you know?
I know, right? It's true. And you know what? Pedro is such a good dude. Like at the time he did that trick, he just kind of did it. And like I never hit him up. I never, I didn't even know he did animation at the time. And he just kind of hands it to me and I was like, "Here's like I just had fun doing
That's
this." And I'm
awesome.
like, "Are you serious? This is awesome."
He's a good dude.
He is.
Yeah,
He legit
he's
is.
a very
And
cool guy. Yep.
I can't wait. Like I'm actually going to be on their show for the first time in a couple weeks, I think. So
Oh,
I can't wait
perfect.
to just thank him in person for it, because it just
So
was
tell
great.
me about the tiers. Let's bring up the page again.
Yeah. So the featured
What
one
exciting
is the
stuff
one...
do you have for us?
Oh yeah, definitely. The featured one I think is the best one for you, the bang for your buck. You get everything. You get the 3 issues. You get the 3 variants. You get 3 mini prints. You get a pin. You get an embroidered patch, and you get the "Put a Leash on Crime" bumper sticker. So you can fight crime in your own way on your car and stuff. And then also that will unlock any stretch goals that are part of the campaign as well. Like because we hit 100 backers, everyone's getting the collectible cereal box top. So that's added to that tier now as well. And then if you just want the 3 books, that's the next tier down, and that's $15. And you also get 3 mini prints with it, and then everything's signed by me. So $15 plus $5 for shipping.
Does that put the cover price of the book around $5?
No, I figured it out more like the book's about roughly maybe 10, with a bag and a board and my signature on it, and then 5.
You're going to sell them at
the
conventions, right? And I assume
Yes.
since they're going to stores, what's the cover price going to be there?
$2.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right, that
and
makes
then
sense.
I figured $1 for my signature, and then kind of get to 15 that way, and then have the 3 mini prints as well.
I mean, it makes sense to me if the cover price is like $2.99, $3, then you throw in the bag and the board and the mini prints and you get to 5, and it's 3 books, so that's 15. That makes perfect sense to me. It also could even be if they were $5 a piece, because most comic books out there are $4.99, right, or $3.99 between there.
That's the thing. I didn't want to gouge people, like I wanted to just charge what I think, because eventually these will be on sale and with Alterna as well, probably a year.
Right, and Alterna does they do a very low ceiling for their their bar of entry, and they do the newsprint, so it costs a lot less to print.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
What were you saying, kiddo?
I keep hearing something.
What, you keep checking the cameras?
Yeah,
Is it
I
me?
don't know.
No, it's
No, it's like outside or something.
She's checking our cameras because she's worried, I guess.
No, I keep hearing
she's concerned with the quality of the show, which is good, I guess.
Yeah, those are the cameras I'm checking.
No, she's checking the security system.
Okay.
Oh,
you have a security
thing.
Like a ring, a ring camera or something.
Yeah, we got exterior cameras.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I love those.
So. Yeah, where was I? Oh, so we were talking about bringing them to stores. So you're going to be bringing the cover price around $2 to stores with Alterna, and you said that's going through Diamond solicitations, right?
It was. So, Pete pulled out of Diamond right around I think right before DC did, during the pandemic, and now he's doing those. I don't know if you guys have seen he does those seasonal campaigns now as the solicits. And those seem to be working out. Those campaigns are usually hitting anywhere between, I think, 12 and 25 grand every time. So that's the new solicitation. And then basically, I think he sells a lot direct from the website too after that. So it's kind of, I like that's the one thing I like about Pete. He's always out of the box thinking, trying to do different things with the comic industry. And I don't know. Can't say enough good things about Alterna.
Yeah, Pete's great, really.
He really is.
Mm-hmm.
And I was gonna say, so I have a T-shirt this campaign, which is great, which is the bull call with a picture of all the guys on there. And you can get drawn into the book, although I think I only have one of those left. There's also a sketch card and sketch cover tier from me and my wife. And both examples of our work are there. We'll do full color pencils and inks and
Nice.
on a sketch card or a cover for you. And that's on Mighty Mascot #1. And then there's the whole breakfast where you get just everything. You get the cereal
Everything.
box from
And
Whole
the
kit and
eggs,
caboodle.
like the balanced breakfast. Do you remember
Nice
the
little
balanced
muffin.
breakfast image that they would do? It was like a glass of orange juice and a
Yeah.
glass of milk and a toast and the bacon, the eggs, and
Right, it
the
was
hash browns, and
anything
then
but
the
balance.
cereal. Like, who ate the cereal
I know.
and the eggs and the potatoes and all that other stuff?
It's like if I gotta eat this, I'm gonna end up with diabetes. Like it was just
Right.
so much stuff. Yeah, it's so true.
Will is a serial killer for
Nice.
life.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so what's next for you after Mighty Mascots 7, 8, 9? What are you going to be doing with this pack? And are you going to be bringing it, further into the future with another arc, 10, 11, 12, that kind of thing? What's next for?
Yeah,
for
I'd like to
Keith
keep
Gleason?
going. I'd like to do like 3 a year if I could keep up with that schedule. And then also there's a couple other series I would like to I have burning in the back of my head that I would like to try. I don't know if I'd crowdfund it or just, come out of my own pocket and then see if a publisher wants it. But yeah, right now I'm more concentrated on making Mighty Mascots. So that's where my head's at for at least the next couple of years anyways. And if I have time to work on other things, I will. Plus do my convention and anything else that comes up.
That's got to be a big dedication of a lot of your time to doing Plastic City.
It is and it isn't. Like I try to I guess the bulk of it is the logistics. Like getting people sending me money, signing them up for a table, that kind of thing, and then trying to making the map. That's to me is the hardest part. Everything else is kind of promo and doing a couple of the renting the venue and things like that. But yeah, no, it's because it's simple and it's a 90s show. It's a lot easier than if I had to coordinate guests to fly in, and I do some of that, but it's not like the level of Fan Expo or Terrificon, where it's you got to deal with agents and all this stuff.
We also got Eric Grant with us, as well as Vengeance. Vengeance is on his Cheese Bro channel. So what is one of the greatest hurdles you've had to overcome crowdfunding, and how did you do so?
I mean, I think it's just getting people to look at something new. I think that's always been the tough part. It's been a little easier with Alterna, but before that, going into Facebook and calling in favors from people you knew in the second grade, that was always the fun, that was always the hard part, yeah, I don't know. Getting people to be aware of it and then also backing it was always the tough part for me, Yeah, it's gotten easier with the more I've done, but it's at the beginning that was tough. And sitting there, I'm sure you guys have done this.
Where their mouth is, and actually,
you guys had the spreadsheets open while your campaign's going, and you're it's like you're managing the NASDAQ or something.
We had spreadsheets. We had quite a few.
Yeah, definitely.
Many spreadsheets.
Do you have any advice for fledgling creators looking to get into this game?
Yes, I mean, if you are looking to get into comics, I think you absolutely have to love it, because I see so many people that make one comic and think, or look around for their Netflix deal, and then, they just, crash and burn, and, it's like a soul-crushing experience. I think you got to be into comics for the right reason, because you love it and you want to make them, So
yeah,
and then if that stuff happens,
it's appreciation of the medium. Yep, not just storytelling, just the medium itself. Because why make comics if you're gonna make a movie? Just make a freaking movie. If you want to tell a story, tell a novel. It's easier. You can do it by yourself if you're not an artist. You're just
But they see, that's where the ignorance comes in, though. They see Marvel making these, $100 million movies and DC and all this stuff, and they think like that's their way into
$100 million movies does not mean $100 million goes in your pocket, nerds.
Right. Yeah, I know, right? It's
boo, Netflix, boo.
Napster bad.
Yeah. But yeah, that would be my advice. Be in this for the love of the medium.
Right on. That's a good piece of advice. All right. So, do you want to get the last word before we get out of here?
Yeah, sure. Well, first, I'd like to thank both of you guys for having me on. It's been a fun hour. It was fun catching up with you and mixing it up as Lev Gleason. So that was always been great. And then anybody that hasn't backed Mighty Mascots, check it out on Indiegogo. Like I said, it's a fun superhero book, the kind they used to make and don't make anymore. You can enjoy it perfectly with your kids or for yourself. So if you love Saturday morning cartoons, when you read an issue, you're going to feel like you're watching a 3-hour block of Spider-Man and his amazing friends and eating a bowl of Frosted Flakes. So
I'm down. I gotta say, is it on this campaign page or was it on the first campaign page that I was looking at earlier
we're just
today?
Watching your computer skip up and down.
Great. This is great. Thank you. You mean like this? Am I giving everybody vertigo now?
No, because it's just jumping.
Oh, okay. There was an image of the bear, boxer bear, fighting, and he was posed very well. The staging on the page was quite good.
That might have been on the last one. I think I
have to say, I was surprised at it's a fun, goofy serial comic, haha, mascots and silliness. But I was looking at the fundamentals of the page and I was like, whoever's drawing this, they understand comics. They know how to put characters there. They get the flow. This is very readable. So I'm going to be backing it for that reason alone. It's a cool idea and everything, but like the comic book element is there. The technique is there. The art is good. And I'm interested to see if the storytelling holds up, and the dialogue and all that. Yeah. I mean, it's Lev Gleason, right?
Will says, let's go. I need that iPad.
Seriously.
Oh,
seriously.
Nice. Yes.
we need to get several, right? You can wear them all.
Yeah. So I'm at the end of almost at the end of my first 30. So I'm going to probably extend another 30.
Awesome.
And then I'll probably go in demand. So I just finished the artwork and everything is done for issue 7 pretty much, and we're starting issue 8 this week. So we'll probably keep it open right until 9 is in the can and ready. All 3 are ready to go to the printer. So people have time if they want to back it.
How long do you think that'll be?
I put a due date for like next summer, next July, but I'd love to deliver way before that if I can. I'd love to get it up in spring sometime.
It's funny.
But we'll see. We'll see where it goes. Ian's really quick, which is good, so.
Very cool.
Yeah, I'm excited for the book. So thank you everybody so much for tuning in. We really appreciate you spending time with us in the evening. It's always good. This is the page that I was talking about.
Yes, I love that page.
This page,
could be my favorite
works.
page you drew.
I think it works really nicely. There's tiny little thing that I would change on this page, but like for the most part, the way that it's laid out is just it's right there. He gets it. All right. So as I was saying, thank you so much for tuning in and hanging out with us tonight. It's always a good time. We do this because you guys hang out with us in the chat. If we had no audience, we probably wouldn't be talking to these people at all. Thank you so much, Keith, for coming to hang out with us too. Yeah. And is all about your book and the exciting passage you've had in the comic industry as Keith Gleason, not as Lev Gleason. We're hoping for the very best for Mighty Mascots because it looks like a great book. We're really excited to see it. If you guys enjoyed the content, please leave us a thumbs up. We really appreciate that, and maybe consider subscribing. And if you want to know when we go live next, you can always click the bell for notifications
and tune into the frequency.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.